Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Hello World with your girl Joy from Be the Difference. So, you know what I have to do first. I need to go and check to see if I'm buffering. And of course, right now, I'm not buffering, no lagging or anything. I am back on StreamYard, guys. It's been a long time. I forgot how to use StreamYard. That's how crazy it is. But I would like to remind everyone to like, subscribe, share, turn on your notification bells, and if you can, share out the stream. Hey, J-Dog. What's going on, J-Dog? Welcome. J-Dog's in the house. Oh, GW, tonight, you're going to have a good time tonight. We're going to be getting down and gritty. Well, not down and gritty, but we're just going to have some real conversation. I'm excited because I do have a guest tonight, and I was telling you guys about having a guest and the kind of topics that we may be touching on. But I named the chat Our Community because I feel like Michi, who is going to be on in a few minutes, she is all about her community and all of that good stuff. So I don't want to talk or get too much into it yet. But yes, so I have to tell you how my day went. Oh, let me share out the chat real quick, just so people know that we're here. And if you guys can share out the chat on your end, feel free to do so, because it's all about awareness and building awareness. And even after the chat is over, feel free to share the chat or the link to your chats too. So let me just share this real quick. Join us. We're talking about our communities. So how was your day, guys? G-Dog. What up, Myra? Hey, girl. I'm so glad you're here tonight. I'm over here just trying to share the chat out real quick. TIES. Oh, Lord. Talking about our community. About the community. Sorry about that. All right, I just shared it out. So how was your day, guys? I hope it was amazing. I'll tell you about my day. So I woke up this morning. I went to work. I had a productive day so far. Like, it was productive. And then my lunch, guys, hey, Mac Terrell, how are you? Welcome to Hello World. Thank you. I hope you stick around because Michi has a wealth of knowledge, and I think you guys will definitely enjoy her. My lunch was bomb. Like, the way I mixed those spices, it was so good. So that was the highlight of my day. And then work was work, and I was listening to some people's lives, and then now I'm here. But anyway, guys, I just want to give you a little background. So not too long ago, I'm a business per se, but I have to post online quite frequently just to try to get people to see my post or whatever. And I came across a post, and it was about the community. And then I rarely read comments, but I read this comment, and then Michi was saying something. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, you definitely have to come on, because I saw just the way she was writing, and I got the tone that she really cared about her community and was really trying to raise awareness about the possible injustices from different things that happen in our communities. So I was like, please come on. And she's like, I don't know, I have to get back to you. And then I said, 2020 came. I said, so when you ready to come on? I just did it just like that. And she was like, okay, I'm available this week. So guys, what up, Rosie? How are you? Have you heard the news? No, I haven't. What up, Marlies? How are you? Uh-oh. I guess we're almost at war, I guess. But while the world is going through their thing at this point in time, I will definitely keep that in prayer and probably just open up my eyes. But Michi will probably update us of what's going on, because I am completely unaware. But without further ado, guys, I want to introduce you to Michi, and I would like you to give her a warm hello world welcome. So Michi, how are you? You got to unmute yourself.
Hello, world.
Oh, Lord. Hi, Tanya. Guys, this is Michi. Feel free to introduce yourself, my friend.
Hey, everyone. I'm seeing comments. This is the first time I'm doing this and I'm loving it already. So, hello to everyone who's like, hello, hello, Joy, me too, hello, world. I'm reading the comments too. My name is Michi. Everybody calls me Michi. I am a proud Puerto Rican woman, born, raised, and educated in Jersey City. I am still here, living here, pretty much in the same neighborhood where I grew up. I grew up on Emery Street, between Burnham and Monticello, McKinley Square, Greenville area, and now I'm down by West Side. But went to school downtown. My mom's business was downtown. Like I lived in the Heights after my divorce. I was always up in Greenville area, up around Garfield, Neptune, where I had family. Um, so Jersey City was just, it's who I am. And once it came time for me to decide to invest in, what I was going to do, where I was going to stay for the rest of my life, I was like, where am I going? And it was around the time that the elections were going on, and, Trump was running for office. And I was like, man, I may have to leave the country. So I even, no lie, I looked in Mexico, I looked in Spain, I was looking at real estate in Amsterdam, because I was like, this, like, it was very real to me. I was like, I may really need to leave this country because this, you know, crazy guy is about to come into office. And but I was like, nah, ain't nobody kicking me out of Jersey City. I'm staying right here. I'm a chill town chica, 100%. So a lot of who I am is because of Jersey City. And so when I see what's going on, um, I feel torn. So, but I guess we'll talk more about that. And to kind of go back to the comment that, Joy was saying about how she came across comments I was making. I do that so much on social media, and it's not even like like, it's real. It's real. What I'm saying is real, but I do it so much that um, sometimes I get tired because people are going to just think what they want to think. They're going to believe what they want to believe. Um, and I honestly feel like a lot of people that are coming into Jersey City almost have like the savior complex, like, like they're here to save us. They see, oh, poor Greenville or poor, and if I move in, I'm gonna bring my whatever, and it's like, no, we're good. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, and I recently read and shared an article purely just to see what the response would be. Not even, I made no comments on it. I simply read the comments that were being made. This article was written by a woman who's studying sociology. She's getting her doctorate in sociology at Princeton. So that's something I always do, especially with the internet. I look at the source first, because I mean, you could be like a 16-year-old in Wisconsin sitting in your parents' basement doing HTML. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, like I checked the source, and she was basically, her article was about how, um, and I'm going to use the term, but gentrifiers don't even know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't get how they're creating a need that has to be supplied. And so um, she herself identified herself as a gentrifier. She was renting in Brooklyn, and as she was studying, and then she saw the changes, but she felt like, because she knew the neighbors and she was cool with them, and and she would stop at the bodega on the corner, that she was all good. But what she didn't realize was that every time one of those bodegas would close and a coffee shop would open, or this would open, or that, her patronizing those establishments was pushing out, and so she really goes into detail on that. And so I just posted that article. She ended up doing like a very loose study of like 35 people, and she basically identified that, what, because everybody's like, well, what is a gentrifier? What is this? What is that? And it's like, if you're creating this need um, for the change, rather than coming into a neighborhood, appreciating it for what it is and helping that grow.
Mhm.
um, then you're basically, pushing out what's there and replacing, and then that's where the animosity comes in. So that those were her findings. What the response I got to my posts on several different groups in Facebook um, was a lot of defensive responses. Um, there was one person that responded very honestly, and she was like, I feel torn. She's like, I moved here because I didn't want my son to have the upbringing that I had, where I didn't see the first Black person until I was 18 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And she was like, but at the same time, I feel like I'm treated like an outsider, and I was going to comment to her, but again, I just wanted to observe to see, because I'm sure that there is that population too. um
That's true.
yeah. So anyway, I'm active in my community. I've been active in the community in so many different ways. I dabbled in politics back in maybe 98, 99. I was ready to, um, I was actually running with Melissa Holloway. She
Mhm.
was going to run for mayor. I was running
Okay.
as one of her council at large.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple people here may have known. She never put in the ballot though, because that, like, it was a very controversial campaign, because she was running against Glenn Cunningham, her cousin.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, but Melissa and I were very active at a grassroots level in our communities, and so but I just noticed a lot of things that I was like, somebody like me that just speaks it like it is isn't
Yes.
good at politics. It doesn't work.
Yeah, because you have to be under some type of structure, like,
Yes.
a structure.
Yes. Well, look what's happening with Miss Terrell on the school board.
Mm,
She's, a member of the board, an elder in our community. I mean, and she was just speaking as someone who lives in Greenville, who had some experiences, and was just lending her perspective based on her own personal experience. And now they're, asking her to resign. So,
wow. See, there's one comment in the chat. Myra wants to know, do you know of anyone that was in the earthquake in Puerto Rico this morning?
yeah, so actually, my family is in the center of the island. So while they felt it, they didn't have any major damage.
Mhm.
But my ex-husband's family is in the southwest region, particularly in Guanica, which is where they sustained major damage.
Wow.
They said there were over 300,000 homes destroyed. Um, I just saw a post, David Begnaud from, I think it's CBS. He just posted, there's people just sleeping in the street at this point
Wow.
because there's still tremors. And so they're afraid to sleep inside their home.
Because it
And
might crash in.
right. So literally there's entire neighborhoods just sleeping outside in the street.
Traumatized.
Yeah. I will say this much. What I'm seeing a lot of is the same sense of community that happened when Hurricane Maria hit. I'm seeing it all over again. And if there's anything that came out, like if there was any good thing that came out of Hurricane Maria, now the situation is that is how we're forced to rely on each other, which is how it was back in the day. I mean, I may be aging myself, dating myself, but like back in the day, I even joke about it. I was like, I didn't have friends. My cousins were my friends. Like, let's say that we had so many, but
Mhm.
still, like, you knew your neighbor, and like, like if your neighbor said something to you, oh, don't sit on that car, or don't
You better
go
take your
near
tail off
the.
that car.
Exactly. Like there
Mhm.
was a sense of community. Everybody had each other's back, and that doesn't exist anymore, because God forbid I even say to somebody's kid, don't touch that. Don't talk to my kid, like, and I get it, but there's no more sense of community. And that's exactly how these things happen that are happening now.
Do
There's
you-
no sense of community. If I want to sell my condo because I want to go live in the burbs for whatever, and somebody buys it, I don't care how that affects my neighbors, because I'm going to be out, because there's no sense of community.
Right.
So it um, Puerto Rico definitely needs prayers right now, because they're still experiencing tremors, and they are being felt all over the island, but in particular, that lower southwest. I mean, there were natural wonders that got destroyed.
Wow.
that like they're gone, one of them was, even if I'm not mistaken, one of like the towers of like the Tainos, it gone, which is like, that's our roots. So, but yeah, definitely prayers needed.
I mean, like, do you think, because you touched on it a little bit, and you said when, like, if you sold your condo, you're out, right? Do you think that gentrifiers, for a lack of any word, or people who may have come into the community because it's a lot cheaper option than where they were, but still pretty decent. Do you think that they're thinking about that in that way, like in that capacity, like, oh, now that I move in, I should try to be a part of this community versus just, oh, I would just live here and I just go to work and I just live here.
I think that in certain parts of Jersey City, you have people that are definitely interested in coming in and being part of the community.
Mhm.
In other parts, not so much. In other parts of Jersey City, there's definitely um, a, a drive to just wipe it out and rehaul it, So that was downtown. I mean, I remember back in the late 80s seeing all these people that I was like, because it was all Puerto Rican, Italian,
Yes.
Polish, right? And I was like, who's this guy? Like, or like it just started to change. I noticed it. And then, we all saw the changes back
But it
in.
took time though. It took time because
No, you're right. You're right. 'Cause
Newport Mall, Newport Mall was like the first big thing
yes,
downtown. That was the first big thing. And I remember even when Newport Mall was there, for the longest time, those industrial buildings were there,
yeah,
where
yeah,
like Grand is now.
right, right. So it's definitely, I mean, it's still happening. The metamorphosis of downtown, right? Because now there's a building that just went up across the street from the mall, right? Across from St. Anthony's. That's another thing. A lot of like
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
that, like a lot of these, icons. The high school I went to doesn't exist anymore.
Which high school is that?
I went to St. Mary's on Third
Okay.
Street. That's been gone.
All of the Catholic schools are gone.
Oh yeah, and like that. I understand because with the change of the demographic, I mean, my mom was very active in the Catholic Church, and she was like, a lot of people that are moving here now, they don't go to Catholic Church. They're going to either non-denominationals, or some of them might be Buddhist or whatever. So I get that, but even still, there was. Well, I mean, this is a different conversation though, because I happen to know that the archdiocese wasn't investing in the Catholic schools anyway.
Well, yeah, I know it was a money thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Amy says, I'm with you. I want my neighbors to tell my kids not to sit on their cars or and then Bo knows, he said, hello, ladies. Bo knows, let me tell you,
Hi.
Bo knows he's like a really dope person. He had me and another YouTuber on their channel, and we were just talking and kicking it and, talking about inspirational things about depression. And Bo knows he does techie stuff. Your boyfriend might like his channel if he goes on YouTube. So Bo knows, thank you for joining us. And then Amy wants to know where everyone is from in the chat. We're from New Jersey. What up, AKA? And this is Michi. She is our gentrifier correspondent. Like for real though, like I honestly feel like, I mean, I know you mentioned it before, but I really feel like our communities are getting a little better. I don't know about downtown Jersey City, right?
Yeah.
Because like those bicycle lanes, they're like really killing me right now. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just like, come on, I think I would appreciate it more if they had to pay taxes or if they had to pay bicycle insurance or something. Then I'd be like, fine, you get a whole lane. But to put like, it's like we're getting caged in and it's becoming a place where they don't care about drivers. And it just wants to be like, pedestrians and bicyclists and cyclists.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely downtown is moving in the direction of Manhattan. Remember, it's Jersey City's the sixth borough. So downtown is definitely getting like Manhattan, with installing the pedestrian plazas.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to make less space for cars. They want you to take public transportation downtown. you know. So which is the same thing they do in Manhattan. How much is it to get into Manhattan now? Didn't it just go up?
I
I think
don't
it's,
know. I mean, I'm afraid to drive in to see what
I
happens.
think it's like $16. I'm like, what?
It's like the price of the GW Bridge back like in, 19 something.
I used to pay $2 to get
Right?
get on
I
cable
remember it used to be
myself.
$4 to get into Holland Tunnel. It
Yeah.
used to be $4.
Yeah, I don't know what it is now, but it's just ridiculous. They don't want you to drive. That's the whole point, you know. And it there's so much more at play when you see changes happening, especially in the inner city. You know, there's they take advantage of a lot of things. One is the lack of community. While there is a lot of community, um, you know, for the most part, everybody just looks out for themselves. And so it's that divide and conquer mentality. Um, Another thing that I was thinking about, you know, because I'm like, well, I mean, you know, people might be like, oh, well, you know, what do you have to say? You own your property. You're not being pushed out of nowhere. You know, I mean,
Yeah, but the
uh,
taxes are going up so high. Of course you're gonna get pushed out.
yeah, yeah, no, I mean, trust, I work my job so I can pay my mortgage and my bills because that's about, you know, but um, there, I am a product of generational wealth, you know, and my family, and I don't know how they tapped into this concept or whatever, but they did. And I hear a lot of people talking about that now. And I've been thinking about it. And so, me, my siblings, we are absolutely a product of that. And it's something that, you know, I'm not far off from where it started. It really started like with my grandmother
Mhm.
and my aunts, uncles, you know, and I see how me, my cousins, my siblings have been able to continue that, you know. And so that's something that also, if you own what you have, you know, and you're able to take care of it, even if it's two sisters, even if single moms, pay your tax returns, save it for 5 years, let's buy a two family house together, or, you know, something. But God forbid anything ever happens, you sell your home, you got liquid, you know. So it's stuff like that. You know, we weren't rich, but my parents did have a home, you know, that we grew up in. That was their investment in us.
Mhm.
Um, so that's something else. I think another thing is really understanding that our voice has to be heard somewhere other than just, while this is great to exchange ideas and talk like this. I was reminded on Sunday by my mentor, who just turned 81 years old. God bless her. She was like, "You don't go to city council meetings, so you can't complain."
That's what I said the same thing too. That's true.
And I was like, you know what? So I went on the city website. I found out when are the meetings, and I just put them
Every Tuesday, right?
every Wednesday.
Wednesday they changed it.
Tomorrow is one. Yeah, yeah. Tomorrow there's one, and then, you know. But if you go on the city website, they have the whole schedule for 2020. So we can't. And then, you know, like I was reminded, the way government works. Like, okay, everybody has their council person, right? The council person has a budget. The council person has all this money to do all this stuff. But if nobody tells them what to do with it, guess what? They're gonna do what they see fit. Because there's nobody really saying, hey, this, that, you know. So they're going to do what they see fit. And so that's how it works, politics across the board. And so, but again, and I might sound a little conspiracy theory right now, but that whole divide and conquer mentality. You know, we're so busy at each other, you know, that we're not really paying attention to how people are taking away our power. They work for us. They take home a paycheck because of the taxes we pay. We're the boss. So yeah, starting tomorrow, you will see me at city council meetings.
Let me tell you, I used to go to the city council meetings because I was a part of a coalition at one
Mm-hmm.
point. And literally, this was like when Fulop was still like Ward A or F, whatever, Ward B.
Council, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he was still there. And I was like, it was just me and a few other people, but I did notice that some people wanted to change the street names to whatever they wanted to change the street names, and they voted right then and there.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yo, it's only like 10 people, and there's like a billion people in Jersey City. And this is years and years ago, but it's absolutely true. And I always challenge people in the chat, right? I'm like, listen, if you want to be effective in our community, we have to hold the people that we put in power accountable. And by doing that, go down to Washington, be like, hi, my name is such and such. And I'm holding you accountable from this day forward. If anything, if you don't change anything, at least you know my face is here to say, I'm looking at you. I put you in power because I can't physically be here all the time. So trust and believe this is not for you to be like, well, I can sit back and chill out because now you become friends. This is a place for you to be like, well, somebody's going to hold me accountable. So I do need to do something about what I set out to do in my campaign.
Absolutely. And one of the primary examples set by Puerto Rico was this year when all that mess came out with the governor, who I don't even know how he got in to begin with, but whatever. And without not one shot being fired, he resigned. We took to the streets every single day. They even did, it's kind of a joke because like it got to the point where there was like a different theme every day, you know? So like the day that the reggaetoneros took over and they were just blasting reggaeton everywhere and twerking in the streets, the next day he resigned. So like that's the joke. It's like, you know, but like there was a day of yoga to make him resign. But literally that community came together
and said no more.
And
when can we all do this? Like, when can we, like, I still think, like, me personally, I feel like with all of these structures that are going up that I know are not filled halfway even,
not even.
I feel like on a more holistic level, I feel like the earth is just going to cave in and be like, listen, I can't hold this anymore. You got these tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff on top of me in this little tight space. Like, I can't hold you up no more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And nobody's thinking about that.
I can tell you because my aunt had a condo down on Sussex Street, which is close to the waterfront. And when they started building the Liberty Towers, I think they're called.
The one that's blocking the one that's blocking the old Twin Towers on the way down the Grove, that thing?
No, it's these two buildings that are already up, like closer to the Liberty Park side. But it's down like on Washington. When those started to go up, and a little while after they were there, in her building, they noticed that it was starting to like shift. You know what I'm saying? And so the condo association had to put money in to, you know, structure the building, I don't even know, because at that point she had already sold. Once she heard that conversation start, she was like, I gotta get out of here. And you could tell the doors were like shifting. And I mean, it's natural. You see that happen in buildings. But she had that condo already for a couple years. And it was when they started building that started.
And they're not using quality products. Patty D says that she likes you. And she
hi,
know who you are.
Hi, Patty D. I'm a Puerto Rican woman from Jersey City, born, raised, and educated. Just here, speaking my mind. If you feel like it's the truth, I'm glad that I am speaking to something that inspires you.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I feel like,
but again, we have to go and ask these questions and be in their face about it, because, you know, somebody else goes in there, especially these developers that they have all this money to, they can pay someone a full-time salary. Their entire job is just to sit in these city council meetings and fight to have these things happen, you know? So, you know, it takes something, and especially now, because now we're seeing it go into a part of town where I almost felt like, I mean, I bought where I bought because I was like, it's the only part of Jersey City that still looks and feels like Jersey City, right? Mm-hmm. And it's close to where I grew up, so this is home to me. And then I was like, and now Greenville is the only part really that still looks like Jersey City to me. And now even that is,
40 is a mess too. Like what I'm seeing though, I don't know about you, but what I'm seeing, guys, we're just having a conversation about our community. You can probably parallel with your own communities and stuff. And like, one good thing about what Michi is saying is that she is going to be active and take part and participate and saying like, hey, I want to hold you guys accountable, make you feel like, hey, this stuff might not be right. And at least voice her opinion for herself and people who may not be able to be there. But on 440, have you noticed that massive building?
Between the Incinerator Authority and Acme. Yeah.
I feel like it is an exact replica of a penitentiary. The way the windows look, the way it's structured, I'm like, this looks like penitentiary living. And that's all I could think about. I was like, it doesn't even look like it doesn't look like apartments. It just looks like a penitentiary. And the same thing over by where Liberty State Park is. That one big thing that take up like at least 1,000 square foot, more than 1,000 square feet. But that from probably the back of the light rail all the way to the front where that traffic light is, it looks like a penitentiary.
Yeah. Listen, I remember when I was looking, and I'm not super picky, but I like character. I like character. I'm a classic kind of chick. So I was like, any pre-war I saw, I was like, I want to see that one, because I just, and I mean, there were a lot of places that I saw that I was like, I feel like I'm in a hospital. Like the hallways are white and steel, and I'm like, this doesn't even feel cozy, like, but
Then that makes me feel like they're just throwing us together.
yeah, I don't now something that I have seen, like where they redid Curry's Woods, when they redid even the ones down on Montgomery Street, like the projects where they're making them look more like homes.
Right.
Duncan Ave, the other ones around Pacific.
Yeah, those look like little huts. Yeah.
Right, like homes, and if I'm not mistaken, those are mixed income.
Right.
Which was something that years ago when I was in college was already like a topic. A couple of towns had, tried it and it worked. And the point of that is when you have mixed income, you have people that, are lower income. Let's be honest, these are people that they have to work to live. They're paying bills to eat. I mean, they're working to be able to eat, to put food on the table, those people exist in the world. Let's not,
Right.
Then you have people like us. We're working class. We can work. We can do this. We can own. We can invest. And then you have the people that ain't no thing. Cash, paid in full, done. When you have a community like that, it kind of evens out the playing field. Now, even the people who are just paying the minimum, like the Section 8, whatever, they're still living in a home that they can feel proud of. You know what I'm saying? Because it's nice. There's a flower bed. There's and I know a lot of people might be like, oh, well, that's idealistic. That's kind of Stepford Wives, but it does something to the soul.
Yes.
You can wake up,
yes,
and feel proud of your home, and like where you're living, and not like you're putting your kids in like some shoebox or like, so if I'm not mistaken, these were supposed to be like that because I remember those conversations happening. So, and I hope that's working. I haven't really seen where they're being destroyed or demolished or, so, but now, if I'm not mistaken, there's also a lack of affordable housing in Jersey City.
there's a lack. I don't know what is going on. Like, I don't feel like it's, Patty D said, how did you guys get your community involved? What is your strategy? That's a good question.
So when I lived on Emory Street, we lived there for 37 years. And Emory Street was not always like, it was always nice, during the day. But there was a point where things got real bad. I'll even admit, like, it was scary living on Emory Street, especially as like a young woman. I was in college. I would get out of school late sometimes, and just getting off the bus to, it was scary sometimes. But
Mhm.
whatever, like, I just mind my business. We never had any problems, to be honest. Never had any problems. But um, we ended up so Jersey City declared like a whole area blighted, which basically just mean, it's a designation, and so they bring federal funding for whatever, whether it's revitalization, added police presence, whatever it was. So we had a block association, the Emory
Mhm.
Street Block Association, and between us, we took advantage of the resources that were available to us, to the point where we had a designated representative in the West District, where if anything, that police officer would come to our
Okay.
block association meetings, so that he could let us know what was going on, so that we could let him know what was going on. We were so involved. Again, we had representatives that will go to the city council meetings, that when they decided to revitalize Monticello Ave, like put all the brickwork and the gooseneck lighting and redo all the storefronts, a lot of that was because members of the Emory Street Block Association, in their travels, came back with pictures. This is what we want to see, and
Okay.
went to city planning. This is what we want our neighborhood to look like. And a lot of that took us meeting and talking and pulling our own individual resources together, um, and really taking a stand. It got to the point where we even started having dinner on our front stoop, because
Uh,
people felt like there was too much like drug activity happening on the block.
okay.
And we were like, but if we're outside,
They're
they're
gonna
not
run
going to
away.
do nothing. They're going to take it elsewhere. So we literally would have dinner outside on our stoop, especially in the summertime, because if I'm out here looking dead at you, you're not going to,
You're not gonna do nothing. You're not gonna feel comfortable. That's
right,
true.
right. So it it took a lot, and we were really, I'm telling you, it was like the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So how did we get the community involved? But to be honest with you, a lot of those people were homeowners on that block.
That's the difference.
They had made an investment that's not easy to get out of, So this was a further investment in the neighborhood, because if they let the neighborhood go, that was their property value, their retirement, their children's college funds, all down the drain, And so, um, but even still, if you're not a homeowner, you have children that go to the schools in the neighborhood. You have children that are walking through these neighborhoods, um, big empty lots. Why aren't those lots full of grass, or at least, smooth, so kids can ride their bike there, or whatever, So all it really takes is a group of people that care, and a group of people that are willing to make the time to show their face in City Hall every 2 weeks, listen to what it is that the city has available to us, and then take advantage of it. Um, because, again, it was a case of the squeaky wheel gets the oil. And
I feel inspired and motivated right now. Like I want to be like, let's do something, God, like for real, because I
let's
mean,
do it.
everybody, like not everybody, but the general census is that the world is a horrible place. And I'm like, I don't really see it that way. Maybe I have blinders on, but I really don't see that our world is so bad. Like if your community back then was able to do that and make a difference,
Mm-hmm.
like even people who are just renters now, because a lot of people are just renters
Mm-hmm.
now, they still can band together and they still have a way that they can hold their landlords accountable for things
Absolutely.
and be a part of it. If you're paying for something, then you should be very well able to say something. But
Yeah.
we just need to get people to trigger in.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it does take time, and I know that it's difficult, right? Because we all have lives, we have jobs, children, families, what have you.
Yeah, but they did then.
Yeah.
Then, and it was less. There was less. You didn't have the cell phones. You didn't have the computers. Like you physically had to either pick up the phone and call or physically go to someone's house. So, but we have a lot more.
I think also though that a lot we're spoiled. You know, we're the generation of fast food, your way, right away, right? And
It's
we
gratification.
yeah, and not only that, but there's also again, I hope I don't sound old to y'all because I'm reality TV messed up a lot of people.
Mhm.
They really think that like it's reality and it is not, you
It
know,
used to
it's
be
not
reality.
normal to like if reality TV was for real, Joy and I would be having this conversation on a beach in Jamaica.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
let's have a conversation about our communities. Let's fly to Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Girls trip.
yeah, like but that is not reality. Reality is that, you know, these people are making money for being whoever they are. I'm not going to judge. But we are who we are. We are residents of Jersey City. If we're going to be here, we need to make an investment of time. We're already making the money investment, you know. And if our you know, children are going to schools, then you know that's another investment is in our children. I see Patty has we have an association, but no one will come. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would say you see, so I'm on my condos board association and not too long ago they were like, "Oh, let's have a little holiday party." And they were like, "Yeah, we'll be the only ones that show up." You know, like just the members of the board. Um I think that you should, Patty, just to speak to your comment, I think that you should start with what you have. And if it's like three of you, you know, I mean, we used to do stuff like we used to do flea markets.
Hmm.
Um, and it might only be like five houses who had their stuff out, you know, with, but whatever. Emery Street was having a flea market. Come join, they close down the street, whatever. You know, we'd do that. We'd have dinner outside. Um, you know, we'd have like cleanup, like during the fall or whatever, you know, just clean up and down the block. I know they did that recently here on Harrison Ave. I'm on Harrison by West Side, but yeah, by West Side by Lincoln Park. So they recently did that on Harrison Ave, and a lot of the people that I know that were involved in that, they're not, you know, they're renters. So um, yeah, I mean, it's definitely gonna take something to drum up. But I think that if you just start and do it, then somebody is gonna see it, and then it's gonna get something
Trickling
going.
effect, yeah.
Yeah. So let me know when you have your meeting, and I'll go. Even though I'm not
She's
even in,
in,
I'll
she's
go.
in a
Okay.
whole nother state. She's in a whole
Oh
nother
no!
state.
Wait, what state are you in? We could play reality TV. Let's have our next.
Patty, I think Patty is like in Ohio, right? Or PA, if I'm not mistaken. She's out there.
Okay.
Like half of the people in this chat that are still here, they're not from Jersey City. They're like all over.
All over. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
and,
Uh,
and so to speak to that, um, I'll be honest with you that even with all the changes I see in Jersey City, I wasn't surprised once I started seeing them because when I was in college and after college, so when I was in college, I was doing a lot of traveling around New Jersey, right? Because just that whole college student budget. But you know, like I had been to like Patterson, Passaic, Trenton, Camden, Atlantic City, Philly, just a lot of different places in New Jersey back in the mid and late 90s. And maybe recently having visited the same Trenton, Atlantic City, Camden, Philly, seeing the change. I'm like, oh, it's nice now. Like it wasn't nice when I used to come out here. Hartford is another one. Hartford, Connecticut. I have family in Springfield, Massachusetts. I'm seeing the changes out there too, and it's along the same lines.
but why do you think, like, why do you think what I don't get is, okay, fine, you want to remodel Jersey City or any community. You want to remodel it, right? And make it look beautiful. Why do you have to make it not affordable?
Absolutely. And there's actually, when I was looking up the city council meeting dates, I found some of the municipal codes. And one of them was about housing, and it says affordable housing. And so I made a note to look it up and read it because I want to see what it says. There is also a rent control, there's a whole rent control thing that James Solomon, the Ward E councilman now, one of the first things he did when he got in about 2 years ago was he checked that out. And he found that there was like 80% of the landlords in the downtown Jersey City area were not honoring the whole rent control,
Wow.
code. So yeah. So these are things, but again, if you don't have people that are bringing it to the surface, he just took it upon himself to say, hey, something's going on, something's not right here.
Do they owe
So
them back money?
I don't know how the city is approaching that now, but I happen to know someone who lived in downtown. She has 3 children, and her landlord sold the building. It was like a 3-family house, sold the building, and she had to leave.
Yeah.
And she couldn't afford the rent there with the new owner, nor could she afford the rent anywhere else. And now she's living in a 2-bedroom with her parents and her 3 kids because, they can't. Yeah. But it's again, it's something that unless people go and say, hey, there's a problem here, we need to look at it, squeaky wheel gets the oil.
How do you,
Ohio.
yeah, how do you feel about I know they were trying to do, what was it called? What's that thing called where you can rent out your room? Um
Oh, the short-term rentals. Yeah. So you see, the whole thing with that is that, so when you start, uh, if you leave short-term rentals unregulated, what you're going to have is a city of transients, nobody investing in your city, you know, especially a place like Jersey City. They're going
but
to
that's what
come
they're
here,
doing now.
they're going to stay for 1 or 2 weeks, they're going to go to Manhattan for their vacation, they're going to leave, um, so there definitely has to be regulation. Um, there was regulation in place, but it wasn't being enforced. Just like the whole rent control thing. So it's
They,
like,
from what I heard, that rent control thing was voted out. That's what I heard, but I guess that was a lie. See, that's why
uh,
you can't be believing every guys. Don't be believing everything that
yeah,
people say. You got to read for yourself.
yeah.
That's crazy.
So Patty, I've actually been to Cleveland. I don't know if you're in the Cleveland area, but I went to Cleveland back in early 2000, and I had a friend that moved out there, and so we all went to visit him because he was feeling homesick. And so he took us around Cleveland. There was a lot of development happening in Cleveland. It was really nice, actually. Um, and then he was like, "Okay, let me show you the real Cleveland."
Yeah, the
And
real.
then we drove around, and it reminded me a lot of just like, kind of like when you go out to the Lyndhurst area, North
Mhm.
Arlington, very, suburban, um, but definitely working class. I loved it, to be honest with you, because I was like, this is like Jersey City with more space, like
Mhm.
space in between the houses. But it was like just kids riding their bikes, doing that. I mean, the houses definitely looked like, whoever owned them or was renting them, they could have used like new windows, new roof, whatever. But that's what happens when you have working class. That's what downtown Jersey City looked like, when most of the people that lived there worked at Conrail or Colgate, right? Like those were their jobs, or they worked in any of the factories there. Once those factories closed, there was no jobs, so they had to go where the jobs were. But
Yeah.
so yeah, there's definitely, this isn't something exclusive to Jersey City, as Patty is sharing with
Yeah.
us. I've seen it in a lot of other parts of New Jersey and other states, um, where, especially where there's transportation. If there's a lot of transportation, you're gonna have all these empty lots, have high rises put up, ridiculous price. Who's gonna pay $500,000 for a 2 bedroom?
In Jersey City, like,
You know what I'm
you don't
saying?
even have a backyard. You can't even barbecue if you wanted to. Like, you gotta share a grill with, like, 100 other or 40,000 other
Like
tenants.
the Beacon.
That way too, and down there, all of them down there, they have to share grills. 'Cause
Yeah,
I have a friend that lives in one of them over there.
yeah,
And I'm like, "Well, if you're renting and for all of I mean, if you're buying for all of that, you can't have your own backyard?"
I
And
know.
she's like, "Well, we have a son." I'm like, "Yeah, but you can't get in it if there's, like, 5 other people in there. Everybody's knees and toes are gonna be touching." You know? Like, I
Yeah,
don't know. I mean,
definitely.
I'm from housing. I mean, not housing, I'm from house. You know what I mean? I know what it is to have a house with another house, just like your backyard is another lot. You know
Right,
what I mean? Back
right.
in the day.
Yes, yeah. That's how we were too.
It's like if we ever sold our house, they would tear that down and make if if the block association allowed it, make that into like a 5-story
Hmm.
or higher.
Yeah,
'Cause there's enough room with the way they're building things out with like
yeah,
cheap material,
yeah.
you know?
Well, we sold, but our house actually was a historical. It's preserved because it's the brownstones on Emery Street.
Mm, mhm.
So they can't touch those, you know. So when we sold, we were like, we know this isn't gonna be like more of the problem, you know.
Right, right. So you felt a little good still.
Yeah, yeah. There was another house, if I'm not mistaken, though, that got sold in that area, on that block, and they took it. They like redid the whole thing. They bought the house for about 200. They sold it for like six something.
Wow. Just flipping the community, like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
And I can't afford it. You can't afford it. I
Mhm.
don't think anybody. Who do you think can afford it? Somebody who's not
Somebody
from.
from Manhattan that
Yeah,
600 is like a studio size,
exactly,
600 is like a two-bedroom.
exactly. So, you know, on the other hand, I know that change is inevitable. I'm not opposed to change, you know. And even though I had gotten married, left the house, I ended up moving back in when my mom got sick, you know. So, like, I went back to the home that I grew up in. So,
Mhm.
like, I kind of got reattached to it. And it was hard to let it go. But, you know, it's part of change. I always compare change to like water, you know. When water is moving, you know, whether it's a wave or a river or something, like it's fresh, it's, you know, but if you've got like a pond of water and it's just sitting there and it
Stagnant,
starts
yep.
to stink and mosquitoes and you know what I mean? So it's like, nah, we got to keep it moving. We got to keep it moving, you know? So change is like that. But when you see change happening to a certain demographic over and over again, you know, it deserves mention. It deserves awareness. It deserves to be spoken on. And really, this is systemic. It's systemic. It's not exclusive to Jersey City. It's not exclusive to the state. It's happening all over. I recently went to San Diego. San Diego's beautiful. And even there, uh, you see where like older structures, older homes, and then just something looking totally different sticking out.
Popping.
You know, and you're like, one of these kids is doing his own. So it's happening everywhere, and I think that it's happening where it's easiest to happen. You know, they're gonna capitalize. They're gonna take advantage, and so.
So what do you think the aftermath is gonna be? Because
Mm,
like you and I both know, there's hardly anybody in half of these high rises.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, to be honest with you. I know that I'm on a mission for this year to really get more involved. At the very least, to know, and then for me, knowing is about like I need to know so that way I know where to voice whatever my complaint, my issue, my opinion. You know, because if I'm having an issue, I don't know, with my heater,
Mhm.
or if I'm having an issue with my lights, I'm not gonna call a plumber. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So awareness is something that has to come into play. We have to be more aware about what's going on with our community, with our money, because it's our money, you know. And so that requires us to just really be in touch, even if it's just with your council person. Maybe you don't have time to go to council meetings, then find out who is your council person. Maybe they're having meetings in your neighborhood that you can make to be aware, you know. Or join a group or something. So yeah, I don't know where it's going to end, but it's gotten ugly. I think it's really gotten to a point where we're starting to reach that boiling point. um and I think that what happened recently with the shooting here in Jersey City was an example of on a small scale, and that was big, but that was on a small scale because that was just like two people
Right.
who,
Imagine how many people might be planning now. Like, well, they got half of their stuff out, so what? I'm willing to die. You know? Mm.
yeah, yeah, because I mean, I know there's times where yeah, like that little revolutionary in me, you know. so so
Be like,
I
no, Michi, calm down, Michi. No, 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 no.
yes, yes.
Stick to this.
Yeah. So, but stuff like that starts to happen, and then we want to. I will always say there were 6 victims that day because there were also 2 people who lost their lives to anger and rage that did not need to exist. You know, um, and it may be anger and rage due to, here's another topic, how our community views mental health issues, because
Yeah.
that's something else we don't speak on. So um it's just a lot. There were 6 victims that day. 6 lives were lost because of things that aren't spoken on, things that people are not aware of. They want to brush it under the rug. It's not going to matter. you know
Everything matters. That's
of
the thing.
course.
Like, I think it'll take everybody just stop being distracted
Yeah,
and just finding excuses to be distracted.
yeah,
Because you don't want to deal with the pain, right? That's why we
mhm,
have entertainment. Because a lot of entertainment is just to numb the pain, to get you away from what the obvious is.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like with that mental health issues, I believe there are so many people who may even have a little touch of mental health issues, and then there's some people that have a lot, and we just don't look at it as what it is. We look at it,
yeah.
oh, they must be crazy, or they're just having a crazy moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. As somebody who always dealt with depression all my life, I know, and I address it, and I know when I need to sit with my therapist. I know when I need to listen. This is a little, the bump in the meds, that like it's to that point, but we can't be ashamed either to admit that we do, because it is what it is. It's a chemical imbalance, and it can be addressed if it's spoken on, you know and I think that even if you don't understand what it is, um, create the space where other people feel comfortable speaking about whatever it is that they're dealing with. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a conversation that I think we talked about it a few times. I don't know if GW is still here, but he's touched on it. He's been an open book with Hello World for a long time, with me for a long time. And like he has a special place in my heart because like to be able to like vocalize and say, listen, these are the things that I struggle with, but it
Mhm.
doesn't make me or break me. These are the disabilities that I have, but it doesn't make me or break me. It
Yeah.
just makes me look at you like you're stronger than me.
Yeah.
Because it takes a brave person to be like, hey, everybody. I saw somebody post something on Instagram today about mental health. And I just said, like, I feel like the more we open up and talk about things, the more
Yeah.
we'll realize that we're not all that weird.
Yeah.
We're all connected somehow.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
We're all going through the same experiences, maybe different levels of trauma, but we're all going through the same thing.
Yeah. Hmm. The human experience is not different. We have a tendency to feel like I'm the only one that goes through this. And that's kind of selfish if you
Yeah.
think about it. It's very self centered. Like, I'm the only person that, no, there's about 3.2 billion people
Yeah.
that are
No,
feeling
the same.
exactly like you are right now.
But
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I feel like when we just remove that for ourselves and for other people, not to belittle other people, but again, create that space and be willing to say, yeah, me too. I've felt that way too. You know what I mean? Or yeah, I know exactly what you're going through. Vulnerability. If nobody's ever read The Power of Vulnerability by Brene Brown, ja, that
mm,
book will change your life. The Power of Vulnerability, like where you're just able to be real with people and bring it down to the level of humanity. That's where you start to connect, and that's where that community starts coming in. And um, again, that divide and conquer mentality has been plaguing us for over 500 years.
I
And
think it's
we
a
need
control
to,
mechanism. I think it's all about control. That's
oh,
how you control people, because if people are not together, it's kind of like how they tore up, what do you call those things? The labor unions.
yeah.
How they tore the labor union apart. And I think I remember, oh, I was talking to this guy who was in the construction, and
Mhm.
he said, you know who tore up the labor union? I was like, who? He was like, it was in the Bush administration. I was like, for real? He was like, yeah, because he said if the labor union said they're not working and striking, he said, well, he was hiring anyone else that wanted to work, and people were fishing for jobs and they took it. And that's how he
Yeah.
said that's the demise of how it all came
Yeah.
on. And you just divided and conquered.
Yeah.
And now there's barely any unions
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. It's something that, I mean, you have entire, especially as a Puerto Rican woman who understands my history and my makeup ethnically, um, you have entire people that are just denying even who they are. Um, and it's so, um, like it destroys the morale. You know what I'm saying? Because it's there. Um, it's in writing. It's our history. It's evident in our culture, in our music, and what you see. But you're still made to feel like that's less than, or that's not, and it's so wrong. It's so wrong. We're all human beings. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all I see. All I see is human beings, and you know, um, that's also where a lot of my, like, there are a lot of comments that I've seen on these groups, especially in Jersey City. There was one comment about a woman who was like, she said, "Oh, be careful. I saw a homeless person sleeping in the park."
Oh, come on.
So,
Mental illness.
really? Really? And I was like, and so you tied up, and she's like, "Oh, and I called the cops, and I don't think our children should see that." You don't think that our children should see that there are really people sleeping in the streets? You don't want them to feel compassion for that person and feel like maybe when I grow up I want to help that person? No, you know what, never mind, I want to help them now. Can I give them my Pop Tart so I can, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to foster that in your child. You rather, like, I just don't get it. And
Everybody has a story.
yeah, and she was fighting it. Like, well, I'm a counselor, and I said, well, I hope I never come across your couch
Yeah.
because you
You have no
know what?
compassion, no empathy, nothing.
Yeah, yeah. So it's we're living in times where I feel like people are more attached to an ideal of how things should look rather than just connecting with someone. I'm a human being, you're a human being. And you know what? If I'm not gonna help you, at the very least, let me not. I was like, was he bothering you? Did he try to rob you? Did he? Nothing. He was sleeping. You know, like, it infuriated me. I was like, really? And again, this kind of goes back to that comment I had where, I was like, and I said it to her. I said, you're probably not even from Jersey City. I was like, did you know when you moved to Jersey City that there's homeless people here? Yes, we have homeless people in Jersey City. Like,
Like, you
really?
want to push them away to where?
Yeah, and I'm like, you shouldn't have moved here if you didn't want to see homeless people. Like, there's plenty of towns that don't
There's
have.
plenty of people that fall hard on their luck,
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason. They could have been just like one of us who were making decent money and then one day lost or got sick and
Absolutely.
now they lost everything. I
Absolutely.
know there's a guy, I don't even want to call him homeless, but like he's wheelchair bound. And
Mm-hmm.
every time I turn the corner right around where the courthouse is, the big one,
Mm-hmm.
every time I turn the corner, I see him there. He's always waving. He always sticks his hand up and wave. Even it could be like in 30, 40-degree weather or less. And he's always there waving. So I look at every morning and I respect him. And I wave right back in my car, as I'm driving by. I was like, one day I want to pull over and see like what his story is,
Yeah.
you know? Because like like you said, we have to be more compassionate. Like a
Yeah.
homeless person is still a person that has blood that goes through their vein. They still have feelings like all of us. They still hunger. They still thrive and they still need love, just
Mm-hmm.
like every single one of us.
Mm-hmm. So I know Jersey City just put showers in Journal Square, right by the alley by the Lowe's. They have showers there like in a little mobile setup. And then at the showers they have counselors, so
That's
that
beautiful.
if anybody so if you ever come across a homeless person and you want to just let them know, because they probably don't even know, you can take a shower over at the Lowe's by Journal Square, in that alley. And then they have people there that try to help them now. I mean, I remember one Thanksgiving, I wanted to do blessing bags. So I took a gallon Ziploc and I filled it with like, toothpaste, toothbrush, soap, shampoo, conditioner, whatever, socks, hat, gloves. And I just posted all over Facebook that I wanted to do this. And a lot of my friends showed up and just donated so much stuff. I was able to put together 60 bags for
Oh,
men and 45 bags for women. And so I went out with my cousin and my nephew to Journal Square. It was really cold that day and there was nobody outside. And I'm like, duh, of course, it's cold out here. Outside. But I recognized this one girl and I gave her the bag and she was so happy. And I was like, I have more, but there's nobody out here. She said, stay here, I'll get them.
oh,
And in an hour,
gone.
we bumped into another guy who's like, oh, I come here every weekend. He, because he's cleaning out coats, clothes, whatever, and he hands them out. It's so easy for us to complain, to have something negative come out of our mouth or have a negative thought cross our brain. And it requires the same amount of energy to come up with a solution. You know, let me buy a loaf of bread, a container of peanut butter, make some sandwiches, and hand them out. Like, you know what I mean? So that's gonna take a little extra time. Do it while you're watching the Real Housewives of wherever you're watching. You know what I'm saying? And then go out there, like, just be the difference.
Yeah, that's
You know?
actively no, but that's so true. Like that's actively doing something. Like,
Yeah.
and you know what's gonna happen? What some people will say is that they're afraid that they may get sued because everybody's on this sue happy type of thing,
Right.
for
Yeah.
doing that.
I did that 3 years ago, and I have yet to see a lawyer at my door. So,
Yeah, because you know what
but
it is? Because people who are genuinely just hungry and are thankful, they're not gonna complain.
mhm,
Because look, if you, I think the healthiest people, and this is probably wrong, but I'm gonna say it anyway. The healthiest people are the ones that eat out of the garbage can. You know how many contaminants they have in their body, and their bodies are strong enough to fight that off.
yeah,
Healthier than the ox than me.
yeah. And that's something that, so I learned this lesson years ago. I worked at an Italian restaurant, and of course he'd send me home with dinner, at the end of my shift. And one time a lady asked me for money. And I told her, I was like, I don't have money. And then I was like, and then in the back of my head, I was like, she's probably going to use it to like drink or
Yes,
whatever. I
yes.
said, but I got this plate of food. I was like, are you hungry? Is that why you're asking for money? And she was like, yeah. I said, then here you go. And at that point, I realized that, I didn't have to just lie and be like, no, I don't have money or whatever. Like, if there's something else I could offer you, I will never deny anybody a plate of food. That is one thing I will never deny any person. Now, I also have had people be like, I'm like, oh, you want food? Are you hungry? And they're like, no, I want money. Oh, well, sorry, I can't, you know what I mean? Because but I'll never deny anyone food. That's just
Um,
hi. We have new
yeah,
people joining us.
yeah, Raw. Hey, Jennifer. Yeah, Jennifer just said hi to you. Raw, I met Raw like not even a half an hour ago. She has a dope, she has like I just heard her talking in the chat, and she has a dope concept, and she talks about kind of like stuff like you just being real and just bringing awareness
Yeah.
about topics and situations. And like I really was blown away when you said like about the rent stuff, you know. And it's funny how like some people in the council will know the real things, but they won't bring awareness. Why? Is it because then they profit or benefit off of it, or they just don't want to ruffle the feathers? I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I don't get it either. And you know, it when you so I mean I've been on boards before. So, you know, like boards for nonprofits. I've served like president, vice president, secretary, you know, different positions
Mhm.
of leadership. And you have bylaws, right? You have this, you have that. Never like on a huge scale like a city, but there's times where things get overlooked. I get that. But as soon as you see that something's overlooked, then you go into corrective, you know, action. And that's something that I've always been huge on, you know, as a leader, whenever I've been in leadership positions. Okay, so you can't make something right until you admit that there's something wrong. You know, so but when you admit there's something wrong, now you have the power to make it right. So that's why I'm not afraid to be like, okay, let's bring out, you know, what went wrong. Let's brainstorm how could the okay, so now what's the corrective action going forward, and then we know what to do. So, you know, we can't go back, we can't, but all we know is that now that this has been discovered, what are we doing about it going forward? And if there was some indication of wrongdoing, now we're talking about, you know, something different, where you have to hold people accountable and whatnot. But again, unless we go to these meetings, unless we hear the conversations, we just won't know, you know. And
Yeah,
meanwhile, the people who are benefiting aren't going to bring it up.
exactly. And people who are, this is, and we have to remember, like these city council meetings, they're long. They're like 3 hours long, and they're doing is talking about laws, laws, laws. And then they'll
Exactly.
bring up at the end, of course, at the end,
The
the
speakers.
community, if you have questions. By that time, you're done tired. You're like, I'm hungry. I came after work. I'm hungry. I'm
Yeah.
tired. Like I forgot my question, even though I wrote it down and it's in my face. I just want to go home at this point. Because you done talked me out of the chair.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. But you know, there's also, um, I mean, we get tired, but I always, I'm big on checking myself first before anybody else, right? So yeah, like so when I'm feeling like that, like, oh, I've been sitting here 3 hours, whatever. Those people up there, some of them do this all day, every day, all, you know what I'm saying? Weekends, this and that. We're not even talking about, you know, going out, engaging the public, getting to know. Um, we're seeing a lot of stuff happening now because it's an election year in Jersey City, right? Yeah, there's an election coming up, if I'm not mistaken. But it another thing is we're in an environment, we're like the most, I don't know if you know this, like Hudson County is like the most corrupt historically,
Yeah.
the most politically corrupt county in the nation.
That's crazy.
This is a fact. Hudson County historically. Um, and so as a result, there is still a lot of that residual.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I personally, you know, this is just the thoughts of myself, not even my company, Joy. I just feel like with all of these high rises, you know, it's just basically thank you for getting me to where I got, and this is my giving you back what you asked for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Hmm.
that's how I see it, because you cannot tell me that we need 20 different high rises that tower over each other, or try to out tower each other within a
Mhm.
100-mile radius in the same circumference. Just there's no way, it's not possible. And then you have on Journal Square, you have Journal Square number 1, which is only at maybe 40% occupancy. Then you have Journal Square number 2, which is going to be 75 feet in the air. I can't see who else is going to come to live there. Like, I don't know. I just
Me.
I feel like we've been sold and tossed out, and
You know what's funny though too, and this is something that I noticed when I lived downtown, because I lived downtown for a little while, between 2004 and 2006, and I noticed during the holidays there's mad parking downtown. I'm like, where did everybody go? Right? And then I caught on talking to my neighbors that, well, I went back to Milwaukee to be, oh, yeah, I went back to, I was like, downtown is a ghost town on long weekends and holidays because everybody goes back where they came from. So I actually made a post on Facebook
wow,
during the holidays. It was about a week ago because, my man came over. He was like, yo, there's mad parking outside. And I'm like, everybody went home. Because literally
crazy.
there was mad parking, so I just put a post on Facebook. Like, if you see a lot of parking in your neighborhood around the holidays, chances are
People went home.
gentrification has hit your town, your neighborhood, and all of your neighbors have gone home for the holidays.
That's crazy, but it's so
Right?
real crazy
Yeah,
and sad at the same time.
yeah, yeah.
It's
No,
like I I I think like what you mentioned earlier, everybody needs to start going back outside again.
yeah, yeah. We
We
need
need
to
to
really
start
start
holding each
building more
other
of a sense of,
accountable, like, you know?
we need to start building more of a sense of community. And I think that can only start, with us individually. And I think that we all, I'm not saying that we don't have a community. I definitely have a community. I do. I perform with a group here in Jersey City called Segunda Kimbamba, and we play the Afro roots music of Puerto Rico, which is bomba en plena
Hold up,
lengua.
y'all be like bingada bang bang, bingada bang
Oh
bang. Oh,
yeah.
right, you see me dancing in the street. I was like, with the camera. I was like, yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, I mean, that's my community. And you want to talk about really taking it back to our roots, not being able to disconnect from yourself, much less people around you. That doing that really gets me in touch with my humanity in a way that I can't deny anybody else, that not anybody that's around me. So when I see an injustice, when I see people that are struggling, that part of me that experienced that centuries ago through my ancestors, that comes back up. And it's like, no, not again. We know better, so we have to do better. And for them, the fight looked a lot different than it does for us, but that doesn't mean that it has stopped. We're at the point now where we've been able to educate ourselves, we're able to own property, we're able to hold certain jobs, and even though there are still some struggles that come with doing all that, um, we know as a result, because all these doors have been opened for us, we know as a result that, like I said before, this is systemic. And so we have to come together as a community, and we have to support each other, whether you have nothing or you have everything. We have to show that every walk of life is coming together here saying, this isn't right. Um, and that's why we have to call people out on their privilege. People need to call themselves out on their privilege. And as a woman, I'm brown on the inside. I'm not on the outside. I could get away with it, but you know what? When I see it, I call it. Um, because no, no, you're not gonna hold somebody else down using me, or no, sorry, we're not. No, we're not playing that game. I saw a lady the other day, some old woman. She's waiting at the bus stop, and the little kid. There was a kid, and you could tell he was from Prep, St. Peter's Prep. I worked on an exchange place because he had his little prep sweater, whatever, and he's listening to music. He wasn't doing nothing. He was sitting on the edge by the flower bed, and I guess his book bag was like on the flower. So she got all, you should have,
Aw. You know
and
how
so I
much
went up
trauma
to
she
him,
could have caused that kid?
huh?
She could have caused a lot of trauma to that kid. Just simple things like that. But go
That's what
ahead.
I mean. So I went up to him and I said, "Are you okay?" And he was like, and he was trying to ignore her. He had his earbuds in. I said,
Oh,
"Are you okay?" You know, trying to be respectful. I could tell he was just like, and she was going on and on. And I was like, and she finally got to me. And I said, the only reason that you're yelling at him for that is because he's black. And you need to stop. Because if it was one of the other little white boys from prep, you would not even have a problem with this. You would probably be telling him, "Oh, Sonny, the flowers are getting on your backpack." I was like, no, not when I'm around, not on my watch. You know what I'm saying? So again, that sense of community, we have to come together. We need to call things out when we see them. And so that's why I'm like on this mission to go to city council meetings. I just want to go listen. I want to go listen to what's being said. I want to know what's being I want to know what's being planned. I want to know what's being said about my city, my town, where I pay taxes. And then once I'm fully in the know, and they see that my face is there all the time because
holding
that's
them accountable. That's what I said. You be down there in Washington. I
yeah.
don't see you.
You'd be like, "Hi, it's me again." You're
Yes.
like, "Oh, damn, she didn't just come to one meeting. She's gonna,"
Yeah.
and then I'm the type that's like, "On this meeting, you said,"
Notes.
I be taking notes. You
I'm like,
said,
no, I took better notes than the reporter.
yeah,
Oh my goodness. Yo, for
definitely
sure.
holding accountable.
For real, for real. I definitely want to stay connected because like, I'm just one person, but I really do try. I'm really am trying to, you know, be the difference in so many different areas. And I want to be a part of everything. I want to at least show my support to everything as much as possible. And I believe like the more people band together, the bigger your voice, right? Like I have a t-shirt, it says silent majority. And it basically, in my little definition, it means like we are the majority, but our voices are silent.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, one person, like i.e. Hitler, was
Mm-hmm.
able to affect millions of people.
Yeah.
The millions of people were stronger than that one person, but yet your voice was that silent.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
like I want all of us to wake up and realize that we do have the power. We are outnumbering even the boards. We outnumber the boards, but yet we're just so meek and just sitting back and just allowing things to go.
Yeah. Absolutely. And there are people out there that are speaking on the injustices and what needs to be done, but we write them off like that's crazy. That's not,
Crazy, and then why you got to be yelling so much?
yeah, yeah. Like if nobody has been following Marianne Williamson, she's running for 2020. And I doubt she'll get in. But I've been following Marianne Williamson for years, and when she announced that she was going to run for president, I was like, "What? Yeah, I would
Mhm.
vote for her." But then again, I followed her more like on a spiritual level. Um, but a lot of the things that she's talking about is true. What we're suffering in our country is not. It has nothing to do with, like, it is a, like, morally corrupt. There's zero love. It's all fear. It's all based on fear. And that's how they keep us enslaved. This is a capitalist society. They're making money off of our fears, off of our. They have us. You gotta. They have like this whole. You grow up, you go to school, you get married, you have kids, you get a job, you buy a house, you got. It's like a whole thing written out, and we feel the need to like do this, and it's like no. Um if we go back centuries, there were tribes and everybody had a role in the tribe,
Mhm.
and so you knew your role in the tribe, and if you didn't know, you figured it out, and then that's the role you played. And again, that sense of community is something that has always been there. It's innate in us. We want that, but society tells us that is wrong because they're different. They're different.
Some person teaches us that, right? Because that stuff happens in pre-K, grammar school, and then you go home and your parents reinvigorate that idea, and then you think like I'm smiling so hard because that was a conversation that I had on here not too long ago, and I was like, we've been trained to be something outside of what our purpose may be,
Yeah. Yeah. And getting back in touch with that purpose is our mission in life because we're the only ones that could fulfill that purpose, Um, so like not too long ago, somebody was saying, oh, that was my idea. I said, people could steal your idea till the cows come home. They can't execute it the way you do.
And there's no original idea anyway.
God gave it to you because you were supposed to do it.
Exactly.
They could do it, but they're not going to execute it the way you can.
Yep.
So still do it because you're going to do it 10 times better. Or something. It's just, yeah. So
we're not original. None of us are original.
No. Everybody has their own spin on something.
But what we can do is actually rewrite history right now.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And my story is growing up, I'm like 3 parts, And so growing up, I got 1 part. Once I got to college, I started looking at another part. And now I'm getting in touch with that last part. And I really have never felt more whole and complete in my life. And as a result, I feel more comfortable speaking on the things that I know need to be spoken on because nobody else feels this sense of wholeness. And so nobody else can really, and that's fine, not judging them. Everybody has their journey. But the day that you feel whole and complete too, you will not feel like you have to jar up what you have to say or who you are. You're able to be yourself authentically and be the difference. I want to get a hoodie or a t-shirt so that when I go to my city council meetings, I'm going to pose in the council chambers and be like, be the difference.
Right. Or how about honesty equals freedom?
Yeah. Hello. I'm challenging everybody, wherever you're from, get the honesty equals freedom t-shirt and take a picture in your city council chambers in your town.
That'd be so hilarious.
What a movement.
That junk hit on so many, Michi, for real, that junk hit on so many levels. It got me being honest on every level of my life. Like, and then the minute I start to feel like I want to lie about something, I'm like, Joy, remember what you're out here doing. Yeah. Remember the mission. Remember, you cannot be saying honesty equals freedom if you're not applying it to your life yourself.
And it takes so much more energy to lie.
It does, because now you have to cover up the lie. Then you have to cover up the lie, the lie, the lie.
I know.
You have to remember that you covered up the lie. Then you have to remember that you lied.
Yeah, it's just way too much.
Right? And it's like, and that just brings to mind, like, we've always been built to be honest. Because, like, habitual liars don't even know that they're lying because they forgot that innately that's what they're supposed to be, is honest creatures.
Yeah. You know how kids, they just say, and your parents would be like, shh, don't. Because that's who we are. I always go back to who I was as a child because that's our most pure form. We played, we laughed, we jumped, we spoke honestly. It just came out our mouth, And of course, as adults, we have to kind of exercise some kind of, but yeah, like mostly with ourselves, I say, I'm honest with myself. And a lot of times when I'm ready to judge,
blackout,
or I'm like, be honest with yourself, because it's easy to talk, it's not easy to walk.
Mm-hmm. Do you have Facebook or anything that you want anybody to like follow you on?
On Instagram, you can follow me. I like to post a whole bunch of inspirational stuff or just like things going on in my life, including like performances that I'm going to be in. And I'm just looking up because I don't even know my own. It's M_IX.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to type it in the chat.
Cool. IG. It's M_IX_CHEL.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's IG.
That's my Instagram. So feel free to follow me on Instagram. Like I said, I'm always posting like stuff that I'm going through in life and inspirational whatnot and things, especially that I'm doing with my group Segunda Kimbamba.
Yeah,
Um,
that group is fire.
yeah, thank
Yes, you got
you.
the opening
Yeah.
and closing stuff ever. I just be like,
So
yeah.
our classes are actually starting again in March. So we do teach dancing and drumming, and it's definitely um, fun. And it again, it helped me to get in touch with who I am on another level, and so it really like rounded me out. So, and I feel like that's something that we could all use
hmm
because
Do you
so
have
much
any?
of
Do you
you
have
know.
any? I'm gonna make you big right now. Do you have any parting words you want to leave for everybody?
Ooh, yeah. Since we're at the beginning of the year, a lot of you probably made resolutions, or maybe not. But I don't like to do resolutions because I feel like if something's gonna work great in my life, I just start it now. But what I do like to do is adopt a word or a phrase that I always come back to, especially when I'm feeling inspired, or if I'm not feeling inspired, or I'm struggling with something. And so I'm just putting that out there. It's something that over the last 4 or 5 years has helped me out a lot. So, like 2 years ago, my phrase was listen more, speak less. And
Mm,
I learned so much that year. And so this year, it's kind of along the same lines. This year, I'm learning is my word in Spanish, aprendizaje, which kind of takes a little bit of a different meaning, but and so that word is just sticking with me. You'll probably see it in my hashtags, aprendizaje. Just I am like an apprentice in a lot of areas of my life, and you're all my teachers. The world is my teacher, and so I just invite you to take that on and see what it does for you because it's worked wonders for me and people that I've made that suggestion to. So, and wherever you are in life, love, 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 love. That's what you gotta do is love.
yes, yes, yes. Oh my goodness, I agree. Girl, you definitely have to come back again anytime you want to talk about anything. Like any
Awesome.
topic you want to talk about, like for real, this is a great outlet. I mean, well, I mean, if anything, I'm learning stuff. You know what I mean? So like anytime you want to come on and talk about anything, if you want to update us on what's going on with the city too, you can let me know.
Yeah,
But you see me on Instagram, please feel free to inbox me or let me know about something that you may want me to be a part of or just want to make me aware of.
yeah,
I'll definitely be appreciative of that because I'm only one person and I'm trying
yeah.
my best. But like, I really do want to be a part and try to, make it be the difference and make a difference at the same.
I think that everybody, like I said before, centuries ago, our ancestors, had tribes, and everybody had a role in the tribe. And I feel like if you're following your inspiration, that's your role, and your role may change because you could get promoted,
Yeah.
So, and the world is in desperate need of leaders, followers, healers. So yeah, follow your inspiration. I think you're doing an awesome job. I see you out there. So
Thanks.
thanks so much for having me. Thanks to all of your to everyone who like joined us today. It
Yeah.
was
Thank you guys.
awesome. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
great. Thanks.
Um, So, guys, thank you for joining us. If I'm gonna have your information in the link down below afterwards, so you could just email me whatever you want people to know where they can, either contact you or follow you or see whatever's going on. Just email me that, and I'll put it in there.
Okay.
Um, guys, I thank you. I hope you learned something today. If anything, that you have to be active in your community. You have to put your foot to the ground. You know what I mean? Because things will work out, things will start moving. But even if it's only one person, you still got to do. Um, Michi, I appreciate you. I'm thankful that we ran into each other all these times.
I know, me too.
um, but between me and Michi, my name is Joy, and this is my guest. Go ahead, say your name.
Michelle.
And we are signing out on another episode of, gotta sing it with me.
Okay.
Hello, world. Good night, guys.